Okay, I'm live, I just don't know. I think the other one will still be going. I don't know. It happens. Here we go. Can you hear me? No, she can't hear me. If someone's here, I just started another one. I don't know what the other one did, it froze. It's probably still going. That's good coffee. Instant coffee. For instant for a good time, try instant coffee. You can hear me, VMAC. Have I got another one still up? Is that what happened? Probably. Not very good on the computer. I'm okay in the kitchen, I'm good in the garden, but I'm not very good on computers. But anyway, yeah, that's what's happened. I'll have to kill it later. But I mean, I'm not one for big predictions, but I can only see the obvious downfall of the fat man in the can. Now we have real coffee as well. We just don't mind instant coffee. It's, just a choice. Yeah, I can only see the demise of him. I can't see, and I mean that in two ways. One, financially, obviously, but physically, I mean, he's a mess. I don't know if he's been whinging about his health or not, but he looks awful. He really does. I started another one. VMAC just told me the other one's still up.
Oh, yeah.
So that one we'll kill later. Did you see the new one come up?
No.
Hello, Scarlett.
I had to log out. I'm doing 3 things at once. I'm multitasking.
But you're not complaining about it. Yeah, no, it's inevitable, the demise. I think there's a lot more to do with his liver, to be honest with you, VMAC. I've known a lot of people who get a good warning around about the age of 40 when they've been obese for so long, is that the liver starts to play up. And you don't want to lose your liver. And fatty tissues can be a major issue. They affect other parts of the body, including different organs. Oh yeah, nothing like eggs and toast. Yum. I'll have mine so they're a little bit runny still. Cooked. I like mine poached actually. Bit of cracked pepper, tiny bit of salt. So when you cut into them, they go blue blue. Yum.
Is your computer on? Can I go and delete the other one?
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
I'll go do it in a sec.
She wants to go and delete the old one now because she's panicking.
Oh, I'm not panicking.
You what, she'll go in there and this one will go off now. I'll be sitting there on my own some.
No, but not then.
Yeah, but I mean his health is disastrous. He doesn't seem to understand. Look, I understand some of that food's quite nice, don't get me wrong. A beef shawarma, chicken shawarma, a bit of rice, but not every day. No, he doesn't need a weightlifter's belt for. Look, what you will start seeing without doubt is complaints about a sore back. That's in fact going to be his kidneys. That's where this goes first of all. Poor old kidneys have got to try and filter a lot of the crap that the liver can't do. But no, I'm not a doctor, and I certainly wouldn't profess to say that it's definitely going to happen. But he's in the ballpark of having a terrible repercussion for his eating habits. And I mean, I always laugh when he says, I don't eat much. And then you'll see one plate this big, another plate that big, and another plate, same restaurant, same day. And he'll say things like, a bit later on, like, I feel a bit peckish. I'll have a bag of crusty caramel popcorn. Oh no, the huge belly. Hello, Missy. The huge belly, VMAC. That would be a large bone in the belly, because he's large boned. So
Actually,
it's a belly bone.
I just realised. I think Bucky said hello in the old stream when I
Oh well,
couldn't get on.
if you kill the old one, you can tell him there's a new one.
Yeah.
I can figure it out when someone's done that. You go and they think no one's here, and then you refresh and there's another one. But the bubbles killed the last one, not me. But I don't know how heavy he says he is, but he must be pushing 300 pounds. Easy. Easy.
I think I'll probably do a little bit of both, Scarlett. I live to eat and eat to live.
I love food. I do love flavour above everything else. I won't eat for eating's sake. Like a lot of the time, if we do buy a pizza, we'll leave a lot of the crust. You know, we'll just eat the pizza.
He was in the other stream, VMAC. I saw him comment just
Go mad, Buggy.
Just as I closed mine.
But yeah, I mean, it's not for me to judge his eating habits, but I'm certainly allowed to judge his behaviour. If he eats himself to death, that's his own issue. I'm sure many people have told him. I'm sure his family, even though they probably don't want anything to do with him, certainly don't want him to pass away because he eats himself to death.
Okay, Hannah.
No, I've never done a diet my whole life. It's superfluous, because saying you've got to go on a diet to lose weight means that you're saying, I'm too big and I'm sure the diet will fix it. No, it's a lifelong thing.
Hannah said hello.
Hello, Hannah. Sorry, I don't see all the comments. Well, I'm certainly not super fat or anything,
Oh, you're going to say your butt?
but I am 60.
Yeah. I'll be back.
That's what I was going to say next, Scarlett. You hit it on the head. You are indeed what you eat. So tonight I'm a pineapple. A bit of pineapple and an apple. And I did have an ice cream, I'm going to confess. One of them cones, boysenberry. It's good. Don't have it very often. I just got out the shower, so all my hair's flat. So it's not that cold if I can sit out here just after having a shower, because it's about 15 degrees, which is okay. But any colder, I definitely wouldn't have come out while wet. But I'll dry pretty quick. Most of this is drying. You just went and rescued him from the abyss. He was probably answering questions, thinking it was one of them quizzes. Hello to you, Bucky. I'm going to put the hat on just because that light annoys me a little. I wear hats a lot, actually. And all my mates haven't worn hats all their lives, and they've got no hair. So I don't know. Maybe I could sell this as a hair retainer. But that bald patch is certainly getting a bit big. Oh, I can still run like the wind, actually. Not for long like I used to. But I played a lot of sport. Of course, when I smoke these, my capacity is not as good. Why you see me lighting all the time is that I talk and rollies go out, you know, hand-rolled ciggies go out, which is good. Because if you have those tailor-mades, they just burn down like a fuse. What else has been happening? I'll tell you what I did notice about 2 months ago. He was walking somewhere, VMAC, and it was like watching Mr. Creosote. This is how the camera was going. And I'm thinking, there's an enormous amount of weight involved here, but there must be discomfort. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't walk normally, and you're doing this, you're putting enormous pressure on your knees. You're not supposed to walk like that. Ankles, knees, hips, extra pressure on the back muscles. Yeah, not good. But he won't listen. He'll say something like, well, there's a tomato on my plate. I'm eating healthy. Okay. Yeah. Look, I mean, if you didn't know him and didn't know how old he was, I looked at it and I thought I'm going to judge what I think if I hadn't met him. I'd say 54, 55 years of age, just on how he looks. And people ask me, how come he never comes into your room? Used to, but I banned him. All the e-beggars are banned. They can't come in here. Yeah, he does look incredibly aged, but that is his body breaking down. I mean, he really wouldn't have any strength. He'd probably start swinging in a fight, but after about 3 swings he'd be on the ground, just puffing, sucking in air. He has no stamina. He doesn't like walking. You know, his idea of what copying his friend does is to sit in the car and drive around chooching. No, that's driving. And he has this self-obsession that he thinks he's attractive. He's not really. And he has this obsession that he thinks he can sing, and he can't sing. He has this obsession that he is better than everyone else, godlike, if you like, and he's not. He will. I think that's where it's ending. There's going to be, and I said this a few years ago, that his only destination is one of 2 institutions, and I still stand by that. There is no backup for someone whose family won't support you, your friends don't want nothing to do with you. I'm sure some of your friends aren't going to fork out $5,000 and $6,000 for a few days in hospital. They'll run like rats. They'll disappear. He has no health insurance. He obviously just gets by with the skin of his teeth, but his body, including his teeth, are collapsing. Lord of the Lard could be the only one. Yeah, and I suppose what someone just said is that a lot of Americans are obese. There's a lot of Australians that are overweight, but the really big ones seem to be on YouTube from America. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm from Korea. I look at Americans online. Oh my goodness, they're all like Santa Claus. Huge. What is it? The bigger you get to open a YouTube channel? But I'll stand by what I say about him. He'll be in one of 2 institutions, or you may visit one and go to the other. What happens with him, as we all know, he just gets angry when he runs out of money. Let's see if I can catch what. Yeah, man, he's the one who's responsible for trolling a handicapped man. Yeah, I didn't see any of that, so I don't know. A lot of people do things I'm not happy with. I generally just don't go to those people's channels. There's some apparently controversy at the moment with Dave and co. I don't go there. And I can tell you that I do believe if there is something that's looking like something, it probably isn't, if you know what I mean. It's probably a little bit of a smoke and mirrors. You only got to study the past to know what the future is. Because I don't go on what people say. Hannah. Hello, Hannah.
Daniel's next, so I'm going to stand and record that.
Oh, yeah, record that.
Yeah, and I can't find your Bible stream.
No, don't worry about it. It might have just disappeared. I don't know. I didn't kill it, but
It's still on my phone, but it's not
Yeah, it's
staying
all
on the computer.
we'll sort it out. Matthew is in a wheelchair. He used a mental handicap people in his stream. Yeah, man. Made him a pedo. Well, again, accusing somebody of something, unless you've got the facts, is mere speculation. Lots of speculation on YouTube. Very little facts. So I'll listen to something and think, that sounds like bullshit. So I won't say anything. I'll just think, it is what it is. But when someone can give you the facts, or you can meet them in person, you can see the result of what they've said is true, it's different. But a lot of people say a lot of things that are not true. I don't know why they would accuse somebody of something unless they had the facts. In my country, you can find out things about people and you'll have the facts. But I wouldn't speculate. See, what people do a lot of the time is they'll get a little bit of information here, another bit of information there, and another bit there, and then they just fill the gaps in with what they think it will be. And of course, that one was speculation, that's speculation, and that's just, I think that happened. So I take a lot of things like that with a pinch of salt. Well, that's cruel if that was the case, irregardless of whether it was true or not. Still a cruel thing to do. But like I say, I don't go to those streams, so I don't have to see them. The reason why I don't go to a lot of streams now is because they're just full of bullshit. And people saying, I hate you. Why? Because you said that in 1976, and I hate you still today, and but next week I love you, and then we'll be together, and then we'll hate someone else over there. Yeah, we'll team up. Even though we've hated each other for years, we'll team up and fight that person. It hasn't done anything to me, but we'll just fight that one. Those sort of channels I don't go to. There's so much good we can do by sharing information and ideas and, look, just having fun. I'm being honest with you. I'm not on YouTube for anything other than sharing. I use YouTube to store my cooking videos, literally. I've got probably 1,100 videos, but you'll only see about 700 because I've got a lot just stored for my own information. Yeah, again, that's people enforcing themselves on others. Would you sacrifice your wife for trolling views? No. I'd sacrifice my own life for my wife. That should answer your question. I don't see any point in fighting shadows. People I don't know. Never met, never will. Why would I want to have a war with them? What is to be garnished from that? Some sort of one-upmanship? I showed him the relevance of, which in the real world has no effect. Just in a little small corner of YouTube. Sort of battles without glory. Plastic gangsters. We're going to get you. Yeah, a lot of people live out their fantasies and such. Yeah, it's like when Fat Boy in a van will say, how many people are watching VMAC? And they'll say, 60. I'm killing VMAC, I've got 65. What's the relevance? People are watching a car wreck, watching him. People watching VMAC are probably enjoying something. It's not lost on me. Numbers don't mean anything. Normally it's rubbernecking. You'll go to a channel where something controversial is going on, and you look in there and all of a sudden there's 500 people looking at the shit. Wallowing in the shit. No relevance at all. Just shit watchers. And then as soon as someone goes from drama just to talking about, say, gardening or cooking, all the shit watchers go away. They want to find some other whale that's been slaughtered. That's how it works. There are millions of rubberneckers on YouTube wanting to watch a disaster. I have no idea. I don't understand that psyche of looking at someone else's misery and gaining some sort of joy from it. That doesn't make any sense to me. If there are people with mental health issues, and there are all over the place, not only online but in the real world, probably the last place they should be is on public forum, airing their problems, or having wars with people, with their manic depressive states and depression. There's a lot of attention seekers on YouTube. It's sad that you want so much attention from virtual. Yeah, and that's not real attention, Hannah, is it? That's just, ringing a bell and getting someone to listen to you for a very short time. Yeah, a lot of people, I've had people say, you just seem to come in and then say hello and have a bit of a chat, a bit of fun, then go. I said, yep, that's what I do. And they're saying, but the hangout went for 6 hours. I'm saying, well, I'm not going to sit there for 6 fucking hours. Seriously. And with that being mean, I'll sometimes say, you're not that interesting. And I don't mean that in a mean way. you know, people just recycling nonsense. It's like, I can't be bothered with that. Hello? I'm in the car park. Yes, officer? Yep. But hang on, I'm an international celebrity. That's right. You don't know that? Oh, let me educate you. You want to see what? ID? Take one of them. Just kidding. But you could pull in hundreds of people into a room in a very short time. It's like the Chinese whispers. I could just, and I would never do it, but if I say I start having an argument with Scarlett, invite her on the panel and we could do a mock fight. You know, I hate you, you hate you. There'd be 300 people in here. I don't do anything other than YouTube. Don't do Facebook. My son actually phoned me up today. He said, "Oh, do you see the pictures on Facebook?" I said, "Mate, you know I haven't got Facebook." He said, "Oh, I'll send them to you." It was the kids playing sport, so I've got those. But no, my time is actually spent in the real world. Well, the only one reason you could say that, Hammers, would be that you would be seeking, and it's not sympathy, but you'd be seeking some sort of empathy from people. Or, if I dare suggest for one moment, money. My dog's had one of its toenails removed by the vet. We now can't eat for a month, unless the good people can see it in your heart. To donate, down below, to the super chat. Doesn't have to be a large sum of money, it can be just $500. I don't want you to spend money you can't afford, but then if you can't do the super chat, some people can. There's a Streamlabs over there. There's a PayPal up there. And over there, there's a brown paper bag. You drop it on the corner of Smith and 7 before dawn, and I'll pick it up. But you don't have to contribute. Just a tip, if you like. If you know what I mean. Yes. Well, I said to her once, and I've only said it to her once, when it first started, and I said, the last place you should be now is on social media. I said, you need to gather your thoughts, the information that you require to go through this procedure, try and settle amicably if you can, and after that's finished, come back and play around on social media, because anything you say and do now can be used against you. And I got acknowledgement, and then you're mad. Imagine if, say, I was going through a divorce and VMAC gave me $20,000 tonight. Thanks, VMAC. And then the lawyers pick up this video. Becomes assets, doesn't it? You don't help anyone through a divorce. The best advice you can ever give them is to try and settle amicably. Because if you don't, most of the money will go to the lawyers. Lesson 101. In lawyers want all your money. I've heard of 2 cases in my life where both participants of a large settlement went for about 3 years in court. The defendant ended up owing, I think, $2.5 million, and the other person owed about $1 million, after the assets were divvied up for the lawyers. You don't want to muck around in a divorce court. You want to, if you have to, get a third party to talk with the other person, talk to you, come to an agreement, sign the agreement before you go to court, before the lawyers can dig their claws into anything and say, we have agreed on this. That's the best advice you'll ever get from anyone. Go into a court to get a divorce simply for the divorce to take place. The decree to end the marriage. Have all the other information regarding finances divvied up before you get to court. Because if you're fighting for pennies and spend millions fighting for pennies, you either end up with no pennies at all. But like I say, I haven't offered any further advice because it's fallen on deaf ears. There's no point repeating yourself. I don't know about you, but he sits in that van sometimes shaking his head and repeats himself 30 or 40 times. My wife used to work in a dementia unit, and I used to take fresh vegetables into them because I could. I used to grow a lot of food, so I'd take it in. And they would sit there nodding their head and repeating themselves. I've seen this before. The early onset of dementia. Not saying that's the case, but by jingo, there's certain symptoms there that are unavoidable. But when you run through YouTube and people who visit to that sort of area, he's run out of audience. The same audience watches him. No, that's right, you wouldn't. I mean, the only time that we will separate is when I die, I imagine. The first thing we are above everything else, and I kid you not. You can record this and make your own video of it if you like, but we are the best friends in the world. First. That's it. Best friends in the world. Nothing can go further than being your partner's best friend and understanding. Because if you think marriage is a binding legal contract, like owning a racehorse, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, I'm sure you picked that up, VMAC. Here's what they call learned vocabulary, repetition. I mean, if you watch the video from 4 years ago and watch another video from, say, tomorrow, you find very little difference. It's a limited vocabulary. Even some of the bigger words he uses, he gets them wrong. You know, maybe he needs to go to an English specialist. I mean, there are some simple things that show you that the learning capabilities or cognitive skills are lacking. And because not lacking through what he possibly could do, he's just lazy. Doesn't want to. That's right, he'd have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But I can't sit and watch him for long because it's like, well, the corner of Devine going down Lawrence Street, yeah. Lawrence Street. Hit a car in front of me's on Lawrence Street as well. Yep. Did I tell you we're driving on Lawrence Street? Yeah. My goodness. We're on Lawrence Street now. You might think a 4-year-old grandchild in the back saying, Pop, we're on Lawrence Street. Yeah, I know we are. Pop, we're on Lawrence Street. I know, we're on Lawrence Street, all right? Probably give up after a couple of goes, but not keep going on and on and on. And what's the relevance? I don't care what street he's on. He doesn't need, I mean, there's nothing to watch. I mean, other than the demise of an imbecile. If he could, and it wouldn't help him now, if he changed to be a saint, no one would trust him. He has too much record behind him. But if someone came along similar to him, but was pleasant, probably funny, smiled a bit more, took you to places that were interesting, like I know when we go to the United States, you will see some of the beautiful places that are in the United States, and we'll have them on film. Do you know what I mean? If I'm going to go someplace that's spectacular, I'm going to film it. Not sit in a car park at night and point into the darkness and say, over there is one of the best monuments in America. You can't see it at the moment, but it's over there. He's the king of car parks. He should get a job as a trolley collector. He's there, and he could lean on the trolleys, if you know what I mean. They pay him a certain wage, I'm sure. Maybe just a few hours a night. But it's a pitiful existence. I feel sorry for you. If you're watching, Zia, I truly feel sorry for you. You have a miserable life. Yeah, I remember seeing the garlic sauce one. But he must be one of the loneliest people I've ever met. He has no real, true interactive social skills. He can put on a bit of charm, but he can't keep it up. Did you ever get caught up in the bullshit? I did at one stage. I tried to help him early on by explaining to him that he needs to seek mental health evaluation and not to treat that as a joke. I didn't say it as a joke. I said it would be a serious understanding that maybe you can find out what problems you have and address them. And no, didn't listen. So yeah, I was involved fairly early. But then you see the lazy, misogynistic attacks on women. He says he's the king of the RV community. He hates every other RVer. Mind you, most other RVers have toilets and showers and actually travel and take, good pictures, explain where they are, and they don't shit in Walmart bags. He's of no part of the RV community, zero. He doesn't even have an RV. He has a cargo van. It's like, you can believe in yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that, believe me. That certainly helps you with your ambitions in life. But it's got to be true. Do you know what I mean? There's no point believing you're something you're not. If you're good at something and you can achieve a certain level, you can be proud of yourself. But his idea of an accomplishment is walking around the corner and buying a shawarma and walking back to the van. And he will say things like, I achieved a lot today. You see what I mean? The delusion runs very deep. He is the loneliest, miserable person who's in the public eye, and the only reason that people watch him is to watch him fall. No other reason. No one would want to meet him.
So Bucky hasn't made it in.
No, I think Bucky's in the twilight zone.
Yeah, when I go on my computer or on my phone...
Are you there, Bucky?
You have 2 live streams.
I do. Did you kill one of them?
I don't know how to.
Oh, there you go. We'll figure it out later. But it's sad. It's going to be an awkward, messy ending in the long run. And if he was fortunate enough to keep going through life, bouncing around like he does at the bottom, he will end up one of the loneliest old men, not in a vehicle, because he'll have no money by that time. He'll just be on the side of the road going into McDonald's to charge his phone, to use their Wi-Fi, and become a true street beggar. But there is no difference between someone who begs on the street or in a van. If you're told otherwise, it's not true. Well, I mean, it's a really old vehicle, and it's something that in this country would be put off the streets. You have to meet strict guidelines for vehicles in this country, particularly RVs, because the authorities know that people don't always use their RVs and maybe neglect certain things that need to be done. So RVs get pulled over and stickers get put on them saying you've got to fix the exhaust and you've got to fix that leak and the gas doesn't work. So yeah, no, he wouldn't survive here. They'd pull him off the road and that'd be it. End of vehicle. They'll put a red sticker on it, which means it's finished. Yeah, I agree, VMAC. It doesn't matter how you ask. If you're asking for people to donate, or you're alluding to a tip, or you're saying that, you can support me on that, you're begging. No matter how you package it, you know what I mean? If you've got a bag of human waste and you try and sell it as like it's just used shawarma, it's actually human waste. You can cover it up as much as you like, but it's still the fact. So for me, anyone who begs does not get my attention. They'll probably get the adverse attention I may give them, but they won't get the attention that they're after. Because I've always said, and we help people, trust us, we do. When it comes to people needing help, they don't ask. You see a need and you can see the obvious, and they don't ask for help. They're the people that we will help. That's it. Not people who ask, or subtle little drops like, in the chat you'll see a thing come up saying, help this person out, donate to the PayPal. Why? Why? Why am I donating to money on a format that I don't have to pay for? I don't even have to pay to have my own channel. But it's wrong, because it's a misleading, if you like, way of deriving income from others based on maybe talking a little bit flasher and explaining that you're offering quality entertainment. If you'd like to donate down below. Why? Trust me, my channel is not a channel you'd find on normal television. So, and they put ads sometimes on my stream, and I make about 20 odd bucks a month. And we generally give all that away in some form or another, but point being is that I do get paid to put my videos up. Why should I be cheeky and say, well, I want more? VMAC, you either donate now or I don't need you. We've heard that one many times, haven't we? This is not a country club chat.
Yes, it is.
It is here.
It's getting cold out here.
But I mean, you garnish a lot more with honey than you do with vinegar. And he's just a barrel of vinegar. And there's no good outcome. I can't see any good outcome. I can't see where he could reform enough to be accepted within a community. Well, I mean, I find you get a run of people that join in, if you know what I mean. And sometimes in the past there's been dubious donations to get the wheels moving, if you know what I mean. I'm not the only one that knows this. This is not a top secret, I'm telling you. It's called Feeding the Link. Where there's $5 notes, $15, $20. Oh, I'll put in 5. Oh, I'll put in 10. We gave some to Tucker's for St Jude's. We did that. More of a show of support for Tucker, more than anything else, to be honest. But no, I don't like doing that. If I meet somebody in person, it might be different, but you'll never know. You won't know what transpired because I won't tell you. Because if you tell people what you help others with, you're asking for some sort of accolade. Yeah, I mean, it's like, and I was never angry at Norm, but I could see it was going to be short-lived. That's why I called him the Undertaker. I said, you're the only one that will end up burying him because people will now not donate to him because you're giving him good copious amounts of money. So you're literally killing him as far as his begging line. And he laughed and didn't say anything. He just thought it was funny I called him the Undertaker. And RIC Bully said, no, you're wrong, Norm will always be there for the King of Freedom. I said, no, he won't, Bully. He'll seriously disappear shortly. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay. And the rivers run dry. Scarlet lives in the forest. Actually lives on a branch with a bunch of koalas. She does all the cooking. The koalas only like eucalyptus leaves, so that job's pretty easy. She just points to the end of the branch and says, there you go. Well, I don't know if that's the real Elvis Travels, but if it is, I'd be amazed because I banned him a while ago. But I don't know who he is, so if you guys could have a look for me, tell me, and I'll certainly ban him again. Just tell me if it's the real one, and VMAC, if it is, give him the long goodbye, because he is of no relevance. If it's a funny one, he can stay. But if it's the real one, he will be banished. Yep, they've actually come for him now. They know he's here. Someone will tell me. If you're not the real one, that's fine, that's cool. I don't mind a little mockery. But you know what I mean. I don't tolerate e-beggars at all. Zero. So you see a lot of names that are on YouTube that never come in here because they're banned. I don't have to put up with them. I'll give no relevance to someone who's that irrelevant. But the time's coming where it'll be all over on YouTube because if he's not making money, he won't do it. Yeah, he did. He was always going to do that. I could see where it was headed. There were subtle undertones of remarks that were being made. I'm thinking, he's already made his mind up. Did I? I didn't know it. I just pushed on the screen. I didn't do anything else. I am guilty. In a court of law, I probably have to have another boysenberry ice cream as punishment. That was good, actually. You haven't had yours yet, have you? Maybe I'll eat yours because you didn't want it earlier. That should be okay. She won't let me eat hers, trust me. It's got chocolate on it. But there's quite a few channels. Now, I don't watch a lot, but people do tell me stuff that have been demonetised. First of all, It would be, and it's based on the behavioural change at YouTube. They've employed thousands of people actually to look into the material. I get a huge run of videos that say not suitable for advertising. I just click on the request for review, and within minutes it's up, no problem. But there are lots of people that don't. Apparently after several goes they'll delete your monetization. Look, if I got demonetized, okay, I'll still use YouTube as a storage facility for my cooking videos. Yeah, Scarlett, there's a certain woman that we could, if we had negotiations, make her a wife of mine. You know, what do they call it in Mormon? Whatever it is. And she can come and share the cooking and gardening duties with me. But that's a sort of kindred spirit. We've got the same indications of what we like to do. But yeah, we got a lot of hardwood trees around here too. Jarrah, Marri, Carry. Australian timber is beautiful. And we could put VMAC in the back room, just in a casket. You come out at night time. Hello, High Country, my fly fishing friend. Sister wife, that's what I was thinking of, yeah. That's, you know, something like High does. High goes out, brisk morning air, even in summer, it gets brisk up in the hills. And he fishes, you know, they light a fire, and I bet he has a bit of a feed every now and then, maybe a drink. That's living. That's brilliant. What have we been up to? Mainly finalising a lot of the housing bits and pieces that need to be finalised, and dealing with council. You know what that's like. But we'll hopefully get started shortly. And kids, grandkids, yeah, full on. When you've got 5 kids and 8 and a bit, because we've got another one coming in January, we'll have 9 grandkids then. And they're the love of our lives. We love them to death. Yeah. I mean, even though for some people it wouldn't be exciting, but when the grandkids get dropped off and I give them a bit of a feed and we muck around and laugh and get on the guitar and, you know, can't buy that sort of entertainment. But I love fishing. And as we've got more and more grandkids, there's been less fishing. They are. And they get away with a bit too, you know what I mean? Like the other day, a young fellow was at school and the class said, oh, we need someone else for the netball team. And he's a boy. And he's like, oh, I don't want to do bloody netball. And he come round in the morning and had a bit of barney with his mum saying, oh, I don't want to do this. And he said to me, what would you do if you had to go to school and play something you didn't want to play? I said, I wouldn't go to school. So he stayed home. You shouldn't do things in life you don't want to do. And I spoke to his mum when she got around. I said, no, would have been the wrong thing to do. Yeah, he had a day off school, but it was only a sport day. So he didn't want to play netball. Didn't want to put a skirt on. Well, there's one thing certain. The fat, obese man in the van will never be killed by a fan, because he hasn't got any. Sounds good, mate. Make sure you, people in the chat, if you can have a quick look at High Country. He's got some beautiful videos of fishing. I do watch a lot of them, mate, but I'm lazy. I rarely comment on anyone's videos. But if you haven't seen what he does, people, just click on his name and go and have a sticky bait. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to, but I'm sure you'll get some good entertainment if you just watch some of his videos anyway, because he does put out good content. But like I say, there's lots of things in life that can give you pleasure. Living a miserable existence in car parks, shitting in a bag, not knowing where your next dollar's coming from, is not a life for anyone. We get all them and more. I did once bring out a chart of my state's fish. We have an enormous variety. We have lots of reef, so we get a lot of reef fish, which is firm flesh. We're spoiled to death there, trust me. Yeah, everyone has a preference in life. You should stick to it, whatever works for you. Yeah, I've never had to hunt for bait. I know my local areas. If I need to, I'll take a little cast net down the edge of a river, catch some fingerlings, because that's what the local fish eat. If I can't find them, I'll dig into the into the bush on the edge of the river and find some worms, some snails. You'll find something. You don't need to buy bait. And if you're fly fishing, you don't have any bait at all. But I know some people that fly fish with a bit of a worm on it every now and then, huh? Why? Because they're not catching anything. They figure, let's put a bit of life on the end of the lure. But some of the modern day lures are just unbelievable. They really are very, very good. I saw one mate of mine he had a whole bag of these things, and it was like, how's the best way to describe it? Like a march fly. It looked real, but it wasn't. Incredibly detailed. So they've certainly come a long way from when I used to make my own flies. Bind them, 2 bits sticking out. I'll have one more ciggy, then I'm going to go inside, I think. Yeah, I remember went to a store in Ireland, and they had a whole heap of flies up on the wall, and they started off at £6 each, and they were handmade. They're brilliant looking though. One little tip about, say you haven't got a little cast net to catch some fingerlings. Well, you go about 2 feet into the water of any river, dig around with your hands, put it in a bucket, and then get a little filter, see what's in there. You'll find little bits and pieces that's alive and kicking, and that's what the little fish eat. So if you've got to do that first to catch your fingerlings, to then get the fingerlings to put it on a big line to catch a bigger fish, that's what you do. Yeah, is anything. Horsehair is one of the traditional flies, of handmade flies. That's going back 17th, 16th, 18th century. Horsehair. Usually a little pony has very fine hairs just underneath the main mane. That's where they get a lot of them from. But you use anything. And I've been fishing up north in my state, and the fish were so hungry, I just threw out a bare hook. I get a fish every time. They were just banging at anything thrown in the water. It was very hot, and so they had very little to eat, so easy to catch. They were whiting. They were about 1 foot long each. Beautiful. But there's plenty of food around everyone, and a lot of people don't know that. You could certainly live in my country without ever going to the supermarket. Make your own salt. Making salt's really easy. You've got 200 flies in your box, but there's only 4 or 5 patterns in it. Yeah, that's what you end up doing, isn't it? You end up having 4 or 5 of your favourites. No matter what you got, you'll probably turn to them. But yeah, there's so much food around. I mean, you can live off fish. I've got a video on my channel somewhere. I don't know what it's titled, don't ask me. But how to make your own salt. It's really secretive. It's salt water. And you slowly boil it down. And if you're really clever in times of trouble, you get a big pot of salt water, you just have it ticking over, evaporating, and you have another lid on the top with a slight angle. Then you've got fresh water caught in the roof, drip it into a bucket, and you've got salt in the pan. It's not bad, you've got water and salt. You might have to do a couple of the processes for the fresh water to get most of the salt out again, because its salt will evaporate with some of it.
After party. What after parties? Hamid gets invited to after parties all the time.
Does he?
Kind of odd.
Is that kind of guy?
Kind of odd, but I'd rather go home and listen to you.
See, I like the idea of starting up a little fire, having you all gathered around, sitting on benches, maybe a bit of food's cooking on the barbie, a couple of coldies, you know, just having a chat around the campfire, because that's fun. And then when conversation dries up, you can always look at those little blue and green embers in the fire. I always used to get fascinated with that. People would say, "Oi, I'm talking to you." I'm going, "What?" Because I've just been looking at the deep little blue and green flickers. Fire is definitely fascinating. It's definitely inherent in all of us. And I'm sure that would have been television, you know, 5,000 years ago. Chuck another log on the fire, or change channels. There's all different beverages that You can drink, we get used to, and we get conditioned to what we like. Yeah, yeah. I find, like with black bream, usually the river worms, they just can't resist them. You can do all sorts of things, use all different sort of baits, but if they're not biting, but you throw a river worm on there, boom, because that's what they naturally hunt out. A lot of fish go down the edge of a bank, a couple of feet out, and they'll suck and blow, and then they'll gobble. They're literally just filtering the edge of the river where loads of little bits and pieces live. So that's where you look for some bait sometime. I mean, if you're going to buy bait, the only time I'd ever really buy bait is if I was going deep sea fishing. You know, take 4 or 5 different types of bait with me. But I always catch fish. And a big snapper now, say about 10 kilo, it'll cost you about $200 to buy it. Thank you very much, Alice. It's very kind of you to say that, sir. It's all full of money to donate down below. Really go. Really go down, don't you? Sit on my blue shoes. Don't you want but just stay on my blue. That's entertainment, folks. I didn't mind. We had a percolator for years, didn't we?
Mm.
We don't mind percolated coffee. I mean, I don't sing that well, but I've got to tell you, he's awful at singing. It's not like even bad. You know, sometimes you say, oh, someone's a bad singer. He's awful. He's tone deaf, for starters. There's no inflection within the song. I'm on my way to work, but I just want to say quick hello. Have a great day, evening. Bye, peace, and love. Gone. Thank you very much, man. Kind of you to call in.
Drive careful, Danny.
I do sing to my wife, often.
Yeah, it does.
And I can play the guitar, but you've never seen it.
No, because
My grandkids destroyed most of them.
I just got to go in and check.
But I will get it. When I get the house finished, I'll tinkle out a few. Ding 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 ding. Act on the road again today. Nice and sharp and ready for the hay. Singing is great fun. I grew up around families that just wanted to sing. Entertainment on the weekends was a piano and someone who could sing, and everyone would join in. It's good fun. Yeah, the thing about flies, you don't know until you try it yourself, mate. You know, you'll have your favourite local spots you go, you know, the riverbanks, you know, the big dead trees in the river where something hides, and no one else knows that but you. And then you'll try a new fly and think the bastards don't take it. And you go back to your old ones that you know work, and it works. Yeah, I used to love taking my guitar out the bush when I used to go fishing with the boys, and we'd share the guitar. I mean, most people in my era can play. And it's like, it's not because you're better than someone else or someone's not as good as you. That never mattered. You know, you'd have a laugh and a sing along. Makes a big difference when you're in good company. You know, there's no forced laughter. It's genuine laughter, and good times are had. Whether you catch fish or not. Now, I tell you the same story. It's good to catch fish because they taste good, but getting up, going out, doing the thing, and not getting a fish, that's not bad. That's okay. It's not as good as it is. Scarlett can play the harmonica. A mate of mine, took a mate of mine fishing who'd never been fishing with us, and another guy had a harmonica in the glove box, but no one could play the harmonica. And my mate Andrew picked it up, and I'm not kidding you, within seconds he was playing tunes. And we said, how long have you been playing the harmonica? And he said, how long did it take you to get it out of the glove box? He'd never played a harmonica in his life, but was a natural. And I'm not kidding. Unbelievable. And I said to him, I said, you sure? He said, no. And his wife said, no, he's never touched a harmonica, ever. But he could play it, just like that. Well, one of my favourite ones is Ghost Riders would get full of juice and be happy. And I get a couple of guys to go chum 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 chum, and other guys to do something else. You've got this beat going on. And then, of course, everyone's had a few drinks. And then you start singing Ghost Rider. And then some guys would go, yippee-yi-yay, and other guys, yippee-yi-yo, ghost riders in the sky. Another thing that used to be when I was a kid is that your grandparents or older uncles would sit around a fire and they'd tell stories, ghost stories, spooky stories, funny stories, but that seems to be a dying. I'm missing a lot of the chat, I apologise guys. Yeah, fishing's good, it's much better catching them, but it's acceptable if they don't bite. Always light the fire, put the billy on, pull out the ham cheese sandwich, or a couple of sausages on the fire, still get a feed. But it's one of those, it's primeval, primordial within us, that we go hunting or fishing or gathering. You know, if you're just picking berries, blueberries or something, that's how we are. That's what we used to do a lot of. It's inherent in all of us. Elvis says he plays the zipper clarinet. I'm sure you do. But I only come to YouTube to have a chat. I won't ask you for money. And I'll learn something from somebody. That's good. If someone likes what I cook, great. You don't have to cook it. A few of them have though. Over the years I get people ask me for a specific video that they remember seeing years ago, and I say, yeah, I still got it, I just haven't got it up. And then they'll say, can I have a link? I go, yeah, there you go. And I always get this, and I warn people. They say, how many teaspoons of sugar went into that? I go, I don't know. And how many teaspoons of parsley went? I don't know. This much. It was that much. And I guess that, and Scarlett, thank you, but Scarlett would understand what I'm saying. It's an alchemist sort of event. I go, yeah, I'll tell you what, a bit of that in there, bit of HP. And then I get to this ending where I think, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we need direct money for the USA. Trip next year. Siege, you can go busking. Me busking in the US? That'd be interesting. I've got the right hairstyle to look like I'm homeless. Spirit in your heart, maybe a couple of dollars. Where you from the south? Yeah, I'm from way down south. I'm far south. I want to come here to earn a few dollars. Can you just, kindness of your heart? You could pretend to be a beggar. Actually, in Melbourne yesterday, the federal police, along with immigration, arrested 6 Chinese nationals who were begging on the streets. Now, these people have homes in China, just figured out Australians were fairly generous, which we are, and they got caught. There was a sting took place, and they got busted. And now they're flying back to China without our money. They had thousands of dollars, I'm not kidding you. Actually, I did that once. I actually had a video called Sexy Banana, and I was just mucking around, and I had little eyelashes and lips painted on it, and I just did a funny little routine. And YouTube said, that's naughty, you shouldn't do that. Within a week it had 3,000 hits, but I took it down. I didn't get in trouble for it or anything like that, but they did say inappropriate, whatever. Yeah, you don't have to eat peas, Hannah. It's like I always say, you know, you see what I'm making, you don't have to make the same. It's just the idea. Cooking is an idea. It's not my idea, it's whoever idea it is. Yeah, I was peeling in a banana and I was being naughty, apparently, VMAC. I tell you what I used to like taking when I used to go fishing, but I go away for a week fishing. I used to make a few curries up, freeze them, put them in the icebox. And they're good for a week in the icebox. And nothing like, you know, you've had a few drinks and you're tired, you just chuck in a curry in a pot, boil up a little bit of rice, have a big feed. Because trust me, when you go fishing, you get hungry. You always take lots of bread with you. Bread is always forgiving. You can toast it, you can just butter it, but take plenty of bread when you go fishing. I used to do professional charters where I used to live. I used to take people out to the islands, the Abrolhos Islands, and off different reefs. I used to take surfers out to a place called Whales Bay, and I made good money, but I made sure they were well fed. Best T-bone sirloins, best salads, plenty of food. I just had a law saying that you can have 2 drinks a day. They go, oh, but I wouldn't mind getting stuck into it tonight. I said, well, you're on the wrong boat. I'm responsible for your well-being. So a couple of beers is what you're having, and I'm going to give them to you. You don't even have to pay me. So I used to make about $1,000 for a day, and I'd have like 20 people only paying $55 or something like that. It used to be. They get well fed. I supplied all the fishing gear, some of the diving gear, and they had a ball. And I enjoyed that for many, many years. But I've always, in my life, working life, up until now, have worked 2 jobs, had 2 things on the boil. 15, 16 hours a day was not unusual for me to work. Now, I can't live off muesli bars and fruit when I'm going fishing. Bread. Take a load of bread. You can always pull out the jam or peanut butter, if you're inclined to go peanut butter. Yeah, dough balls are good. I tell you, that's what you'd normally catch river fish on, is bread, and I'm sure Hi's done that on occasions. But another good thing to eat around a campfire, you've got plenty of time and you're camping overnight, make sure you take a lot of potatoes and silver foil around the edge of the fire. Just pull a bit of the coals out, cover the potatoes, forget about them. And then when that smells ready, and that's how I actually cook. I'll go, yep, that smells ready. Then you take them out and cut them, a bit of butter, salt. You're in heaven, trust me. A lot of people don't eat peas. Our sister, Mandy's sister, can't stand peas. I'd eat buckets of them. I love peas. Peas straight from the garden, particularly I have 2 or 3 varieties I grow. I never even take them out of the pod. I eat the pod and all. Like a snap pea, if you know what I mean, like a sugar snap. Lincolns I like. Lincoln peas are yum. As Elvis left the building. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. What are you up to, dear?
Daniel's in.
He's in the final 2?
Yeah.
Oh, Susie be wrapped.
Yeah.
All right, so the results are from The Voice in Australia tonight. Dear friend, Susie, who's German, has gone back to Germany at the moment. Her friend Daniel is in the final 2 of The Voice. So that's exciting. And Susie can sing as well, just a bit shy. But she'll be wrapped. Have you passed the message on to her?
Yes, I have.
Has she replied?
Not yet.
She'll be stoked. Everyone can sort of do a tune. Some people are terrible, like the fat guy in a van, he's awful. But most people can sort of sing along.
No, I can't sing.
No, you can sing. We'll do a tune together.
We did it last year in the bunker.
On the road again.
I can't even
Just
play the
listening
flute.
to my YouTube friends. Over to the wife. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. On the road again.
Ba ba black sheep, have you any wool? Yes sir, yes sir, 3 bags full.
Yep, that should probably take off, I reckon.
1 for the master, 1 for the dame, and 1 for the little boy who lives down the lane. There you go.
But there are songs that we've sung together on YouTube. You'll have to look for them. I don't know what they're called, but we muck around all the time. And the grandkids love singing. They have great fun. What's Mrs. Seeds? I'm curious, what is your favourite brand of chocolate?
Any, as long as it's not dark.
We are coming to Canada probably May. I'd guess Hammers. I'll certainly make it known to the people we do know on here And if we can catch it, we will.
Yep, I have had chocolate from all over the world.
I've tried Hershey's, a bit too creamy for me, Hershey. Especially, you remember the little Hershey hearts they used to do, or drops, whatever they used to call?
Yeah.
What were they called? They were called something, weren't they? Oh, I don't like dark chocolate as a
No,
rule.
I don't like dark chocolate. But sometimes chocolate bars will have a little bit in. That's okay. Like your cherry ripe have dark chocolate. That's all right. But probably my favourite is Caramello Bear.
You like,
It's
no,
chocolate
you
with
like
caramel in it.
Bounties, though. And
And
flakes.
Bounties with coconut
Flakes
in it.
and chocolate bars. And
I like
Easter
chocolate.
eggs.
Hey, hang on a sec.
There's
I just
never
like
ending
chocolate.
list, trust me.
I just love chocolate.
I tell you, I'm not keen on Easter egg chocolate. I'll eat it,
Depends on the
but
brand. Cadbury.
just tastes funny. Yeah, I'm the same. I don't mind a bit of caramel, like a Mars bar or Snickers.
But I do.
I
like,
don't need a lot of chocolate.
Sometimes we do. I do.
Actually, there's one
like
from Aldi's. What's that
Aldi,
called?
yeah.
Moro, or what is it called?
No, that's not called Moro. It's called.
It's a cheap version of a Mars bar, I think.
Yeah, I find it's better than Mars bar.
All right, thanks for
Oh,
coming,
hey,
guys.
Sid.
We're now closing down. Good night.
I see.
Just kidding, Sids. Oh yeah, chocolate-covered raisins. I don't mind chocolate-covered nuts
Just
either.
never take raisins or almonds from old people in nursing homes.
No, because they may not be.
They could have been chocolate coated once.
Yeah, I've seen and tasted American candy. It's very sweet. Loads of it is just bucket loads of sucrose, really, just covered in something.
What's a US brand of chocolate? Have we had US chocolate?
Hershey, you've had Hershey.
I don't mind some of the Hershey. UK is their chocolate's okay. German chocolate, I have to admit, it's pretty good. So is Belgium.
She's tasted chocolate from all around the world. And I've tasted pies from mostly around the world, except we couldn't get a decent one in the UK. It's different. I mean, I can tell you some of the chocolates that are standard, like you'd all know Kit Kats, Mars bars, Snickers. They're all different in different countries. In Thailand, they have all that, but they're all different tasting. They don't taste sort of like what I get back home. New Zealand had great pies. Best pie I've ever had was just above Queenstown, a little town called Arrowtown.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of them colonial type villages they built up with displays and whatever. But there's a bakery right down the end. And that's the best pie I ever had. Flaky it was too, flaky pastry.
Gotta say, New Zealand makes the best chips.
Good chips.
Packets, cold chips, not hot
Yep.
chips. Like, we're supposed to make good hot chips, but you know, your cold Bluebird branded chips or
Yeah.
something. And there's another brand.
Bluebird is very common in New Zealand.
There's another brand. They are yum.
Yeah, that little place, High Country in Arrowtown, is not only great pies, but you sit outside and because it was all flaky, all those little birds,
Finches.
hundreds of little finches, you sooner drop a little crumb, down they come and get it. Full of them. They know where to go for a feed. And if they changed to short crust pastry, the birds would go on strike. But everyone had a pie outside and be a little bit fall off. Hundreds of little dark finches they were. I can't remember if there was any colours in them. I think they were just dark, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful little place, Arrowtown. A little bit of history, a bit of culture. Queenstown's nice too. Just very hilly. There's hills everywhere. If I'd have built the town, you only got to drive about 2 minutes out of Queenstown. It's flat. But no, they decided to build the town on like hills and
What
ridges.
is short crust?
Short crust pastry
Right.
doesn't have that much butter in it,
And
like
it's-
flaky pastry does, and flaky pastry is folded more.
And it's short crust is heavier pastry.
Short crust you'd use on like a custard tart. Good example how to use short crust pastry. But I use short crust when I make my pies, but I use it on the bottom and I put flaky pastry on top. Yeah, it's very popular in the winter. It's very hairy to fly in there high because all those mountains, they literally, the planes will go, I'm not kidding you, they do that. They've got to weave their way through the mountains to land at
Oh.
Queenstown Airport.
It was a bit scary.
It's like, do they know what they're doing? You know, you're sitting in the seat, you think, I'll just lean a little bit to the left because they're going too far right. But the pilot said, no, it's normal. He said, wasn't any wind, it's just you've got to work your way around the mountains. Everyone says the same thing when you meet them in the pub. He said, did you see the landing? How they had to do this? Yeah.
Actually, we've got
Yeah, it's got a few little, we call them humpies in Australia, but that's the version for the Murray. They had,
man.
and they're so short. Mate, I'm big, and I had to virtually crawl in on my knees into them things.
I have to finish do my European videos. When I find the old New Zealand ones, I can put some of them together and put them up. You can call it flashback or something. Because when did we go to New Zealand? 2004?
2004, I think,
Or
yeah.
something?
Went to Vietnam in 3, so yeah, it would have been 4 in New Zealand. But it's a beautiful country. New Zealand is naturally beautiful. We've got parts of Australia that are naturally beautiful. New Zealand just seems to have a lot more of them. Mind you, there's only a tiny little speck in the ocean. Hi. It's like a little streak. So it's fallen off the side of Australia. And I'm not making that up. If you grab New Zealand, you get the coast of Australia and you push it together, it matches. So you are East Australians and we're West New Zealanders.
Oh, Bucky made it.
Hello, Bucky. Welcome. You've been lost.
We were trying to
You've been
find you,
stuck in the
Bucky.
matrix. How did you get here? Did Mr. Anderson help you? Oh, I dropped something. Pick it up.
Who's Mr. Anderson?
That's, yes, most of the filming was done in New Zealand for Lord of the Rings. Some was done in Wales and Ireland and Scotland. Actually, where we went to on the Dingle Way, which is the west coast of Ireland. Do you remember in the latest, or the one before the latest Star Wars movie, where Luke is up on the hill, and the very last shot of it is him turning around? Well, that hill is on the Dingle Way, and they actually had to build a road, because Dingle Way had an island which you saw him standing on, and then they had water. So they built a road across the water to give that sort of sweeping effect. But that shot was done in Ireland. I know they would have been bloody freezing making that movie. He certainly would have to had the force going then, wouldn't he?
Oh, you're naturally beautiful, Bucky said.
Thank you, Bucky. I kind of guy. Bucky, if we go camping and you wake up with a condom in your butt, are you going to tell anyone?
Oh, stop it.
No? I'll pick you up for camping next Friday.
Oh, God.
Yes, I started to hang out and then I did that bubbly thing and it froze the whole screen. So I killed it.
Oh,
It's probably still up actually.
it is.
Is it? Oh, well.
Yeah, like when I
Do you want to say hello to people?
came off and on this one. Bit cold. I'm going in a minute. I think I have to go make some toast. Talking about pies, maybe and chocolate, and we've got no chocolate.
Still got bacon there. Bacon butty maybe?
No, I don't want anything like that.
Okay. Made a hamburger again today. Hamburger, bacon, didn't do an egg, cheese, tomato, lettuce. It was nice.
Toast. I
Very
can
filling.
eat toast any time of the day. BMAX says I demand a personal hello, Bucky. Oh, come on, Bucky. She's got a wrench. Just remember
Hello,
that.
Bucky, my old friend.
I've come to talk with you again.
Seeds in. What are you doing? Oh, you finished. Talking to the peoples, have you? Bacon buddy. You know when you get it real crunchy high? You get that bacon, you snap the little bugger. Stick it in some fresh bread, butter. Squeeze it together, and then heaven crunch. Heaven crunch. Ooh. A world without bacon is not a world worth living in. Bacon goes well with anything. You hate hamburgers. You mean like the shop bought ones? Because we don't do that. We make our own.
Yeah, we make our own. I do like a nice hamburger. Like bun toasted and cheese and lettuce, tomato. What else you put on there? the meat.
Yeah, I think every time I've ever had a burger, and with the grandkids, we'll take them to the McDonald's and things like that, and I have one. My stomach is so heavy. I'm not kidding. Lots of people. I tell you what I did see today, V-Mac.
not so
I tell you, it was
bad.
funny because they got this new area in this particular supermarket here, where they've got all this fake meat, if you like. It's called something meat, but it's not real meat. 2 hamburgers were $11. I'm not kidding you. Some of the mincemeat that they make, which is not real mincemeat, it was like 250 grams for $9. There's 2 things that are not happening here. I'm not paying huge sums of money for something that's not even real, for starters, but I'd give it a go, but not for that price. Just ridiculous.
Oh, Sidge doesn't like ground beef. Okay, so Sidge, you can have a bacon and egg.
What about
burger
spaghetti
there.
bolognese, Sid? You eat that? Our kids love spaghetti bolognese. Grandkids love it. I just hoe it down. Yeah, hamburger meat, but you can do so many things with it. Like I will use hamburger meat making pasties. Half meat, half veg. That's how I like to make mine. But I don't like the idea of fake meat. I prefer that you just ate things that weren't meat. Yeah, Italian sausage, it's what you're used to, of course. But I swear, if you sat here and I fed you spaghetti bolognese, you'd be heading for seconds. It is yum. It's one of those go-to meals for the family. Like I can make lasagna quickly and spaghetti bog quickly. But no, VMAC doesn't eat meat. That's okay. You can live quite nicely. VMAC, do you eat a lot of raw food? And I don't mean that in a bad way. Do you eat nuts, dried fruits? Because I love them. We can go a whole day just nibbling on stuff like that, and there's no meat involved. We do have meat-free meals. The wife makes a beaut little chopped-up veggie thing in the oven, onions, garlic, pumpkin, potato, you name it, it's all in there. Gets all roasted, and then we put sour cream, chili sauce.
I eat less meat than you do.
Yeah, no, I eat more meat than the wife does. But again, we don't eat meat all the time. Oh dear. Bucky, you need reminding that VMAC has a weapon. She's a weaponised VMAC. I can't eat ground beef because I had bad experience. I bit into hard gristle. Yeah, well that's... Don't go to that butcher again.
What's the dish? What is it? The bolognese?
Spaghetti bolognese.
It's on his channel.
I've done one recently. Just go back a couple of videos high and you'll see it. Very easy, simple, yum. I did it to show Awesome Hooker how we make spaghetti bog, but then I took it, after I finished that, I took it in to make it like a chili beef. But, I mean, the wife ate it. Wasn't that hot for you, was it?
That was all right.
That chili sauce I'm making is getting very mild now.
Is that?
It's got honey in it.
What happened to you Sis, with your ground beef? I'm like that with fish. I'll eat fish, and it could be 12 months down the track, I'll come across a bone. Well, that's it. I won't eat fish for the next 6 months now.
Oh, the veggie one, hi. Yeah, that's, for me...
Oh, the veggie one? Okay.
The wife can explain it.
I just cut up any vegetable you want.
Whatever we got.
Capsicum, everything.
All sorts of veggies, mainly like potato, sweet potato, pumpkin. That's in there for sure. Garlic, onions. If there's some capsicum lying around, it goes in.
Red onion.
Sweet, if it's there, whatever, doesn't matter.
Red onion.
Then a bit of olive oil, all mixed up. A little bit of salt and pepper, a bit of paprika. In the oven.
And chicken and beef stock cubes sprinkled, mixed in.
Sprinkle a bit of stock on it, extra flavour. But then when it comes out, it's roast veg. She makes them quite small, the veg. I like bigger ones, but she has a smaller one.
Yeah.
But then we put it on our plate, a whole plate full of vegetables, roasted. Sour cream, chili sauce, maybe a bit of grated cheese.
Oh, and mushrooms.
And mushrooms.
And halfway through, I'll add in tins of peas and corn from a tin. Halfway through it cooking.
Yeah.
Roasting.
See, what she makes, I would actually stick it in a pasty. Do you know what I mean? It's got everything I would need for a vegetable pasty. Yeah, you need protein when you're not eating, mate.
Yeah,
do you take supplement B12, VMAC? That's not being derogatory. I mean,
I can do video. The only problem is a small oven.
That's fine.
I'll just have to make, because
Oh.
when I make it, I make so much.
Well, don't make as much.
Yeah.
Make enough just for a meal. We always do things like that. Like if I go to the cupboard and I can see the potatoes starting to get little eyes on them, I'll cook the whole damn lot. I'll just pick the eyes out in the pan, roast a heap of veggies, because then we'll eat some and then we'll put some in the fridge. And nothing like a roasted veggie cold out of the fridge, sliced, bit of olive oil and butter in the pan, crispy rounds. You'll love me forever, trust me. You'll love them. So nothing goes to waste. And then if you want to, just cut up the cold roast potato, add a bit of mayo, bit of red onion, bit of corn, whatever you want to do. They're just a go-to thing. But I hate wastage. So if I see a little couple of eyes showing on potatoes and there's still a few pound left in it, they all get cooked. You're coming with me, boys. Cook them up. My grandkids will come around and just get a potato out of the fridge and they'll put a bit of salt on. Thank you very much. I was telling Awesome the other day with the boys that eat like 10 men, just give them plenty of spuds. But potatoes are very filling.
That's like High Country. You've watched Too Aussie lately. You know what? I don't know if anyone else in here guys watched Too Aussie. I said the other day, Too Aussie, somebody, like one of the manufacturers could pick him up to, what's the word?
Well, see what Too Aussie is, and Hi would know what I'm talking, is Too Aussie's deadpan. He's got this natural deadpan humour.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, it's not forced, it's just what he is. He's very funny, and he doesn't know it a lot of the time. And he cooks, and then he judges fast food, which I couldn't do.
So the manufacturers of the stuff that he is showing on his channel, I reckon one day someone's going to pick him up and get them to review their products because of how he...
Dunno. He's an affable chap. I like it. He's good. I don't get to see all his videos because he's on real late. I've caught up with High Country there a few times, and it's like 3 in the morning for High, and it's about 11 o'clock at night for me. But Too Aussie works doing night fill, so he's going to be finishing about 11 most nights, so he'll come home to a meal at midnight. Doing those sort of hours puts you in a different sort of time frame. But he's on pretty late generally, and that would make it real late for you. I know a couple of times I've caught you're getting up ready to go fishing because he's been like 2 o'clock in the morning, which makes it about 5 or up past 5 your time. I stirred him up a couple of months ago. He did a video with his girlfriend called Liz. And I just made a comment saying, oh, it's great, these father and daughter days out. I think he just skipped over it, but I was just being humorous. She's a good looking Sheila. But you could, if all you wanted to do was market your channel and make money out of it, you got to work at it. You've got to be more spiffo with your video. You've either got to have a little niche of your own, whatever it is. You did a live from Bathurst. Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Bloody cold in Bathurst this time of year. Snows there this time of year. We used to live over east for a number of years and been out to Bathurst many times. I'm going to use StreamYard.com for live streams. It's easy and better.
What is StreamYard?
I don't know what it is, but when you do your next stream, I'll come in and then maybe you can tell me about it. Because I won't always just use my phone to do Hangouts. I want to get people up. Like, if any of you are interested, we'll get up and have a bit of a chat.
So can you get people on panel seats?
People are switching to it. It's like Hangouts. Okay. So it goes through YouTube, though, is what you're saying. So it's, you just use that third-party thing to broadcast, I guess. I'm just making up words here. I don't really know what I'm talking about, Sids. I'm just assuming.
Okay, sounds interesting.
Do you know what would make a really good panel? And we could take turns doing it, where we have, say, 3 or 4 people on the panel, and the main host actually cooks something. You know what I mean? Like you've got a panel of people saying, oh, you should be adding a bit more salt to that, or whatever. That'd be good fun. And then you've got the audience and the side chat as well. But that would be interesting. I don't think anyone does that, Sids. It's not like a live cooking. I'm sure they do live cooking, but not with a panel and a bit of good hour or two hangout. See, I'm not going to do, Sids, if you do 6, 8 hour hangouts, I'm not going to be there long. I just, it's like, it's too long. It's a day's work. For an hour and a half, that's good. Short and sweet, as the old saying goes. But yeah, I think we could give that a crack one day. We'll get one of us to actually have the camera. And even if you're not the one that's hosting, you can still do that, I believe. We like, say, if I'm hosting, you can have your camera and we can keep it on you, you know what I mean? And the panel can be there, and then the side chat can be involved. Because every time you make something, and other people have different versions. But they're in your version, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't know how many versions of lasagna there are, but there are many. And if you made a lasagna and I made a lasagna, it wouldn't be the same. It'd be different.
No, because Sid won't use ground beef, so it would be
No, she does use ground beef, but she wants it done from steak. That's what she was
Oh,
saying.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All our ground beef is done from steak here. There's no gristle. But that's the beauty, and I think there's a lot of people interested in cooking and eating, let's be honest. But it's like one of those things that we could share the cooking process. I mean, if I was making spaghetti bog, for example, I'd probably need 40 minutes, 45 minutes. From start to finish, I'd be done. And cooking something else like a lasagna, what's that? So it's probably prep 10 minutes, half hour cooking, 40 minutes again. You like a little bit of Italian sausage. Va bene, I like the sausage from Sicily, all right? Take it away. All different foods mean different things to different people. Like, we'd never cooked cornbread before, and the wife did it.
I still want to get.
But I then
cornmeal
showed you
out.
what we use for the similar type thing, which is the Aussie damper, which can be made different ways. There's not a variety of cornbread. I bet there's many. I don't really like hollandaise sauce. There are so many ways. Like, a lot of people will use egg yolk and fold it. And look, it's like when you go to a fancy breakfast restaurant and you'll get eggs hollandaise, and it's like, it's a poncy way of eating eggs. Do you know what I mean? I like eggs quite simple. I like them either poached, which is the most simple way, or, you know, you make a hollandaise sauce up, fine, if that's what you want. The only time I've actually enjoyed that is when I've had a poached egg with hollandaise sauce over asparagus.
I'm going in.
And a very fancy, yeah, I'm coming in a sec too. Pasta's good. Pasta's simple, sweet. You can have it either with cream sauce. Look, a lot of Italians just have chopped up tomato, olive oil, salt and pepper. Put through their pasta. We could do a video one day of making pasta. Sids, I'm sure you can. It's so simple. You don't need a pasta roller, one of them fancy. Don't need one of them. You just got to roll it thin enough so you can see your hand through it. That's all pasta's all about. Make ravioli, you can make little bow ties. Pasta's real simple. And fresh pasta takes 3 or 4 minutes to cook. I like a less pasta, more veggies. Yeah, it's like, you know, if I had you around to my place, I'd have like 5 or 6 different dishes out, and you can take what you want. I like to do that in preference to dishing up people a meal. Do you know what I mean? So if I've got roast pork, roast vegetables, different dishes, people can just come along and take what they want. Mariana, 4 ingredients. Well, it depends how many pieces of fish you put in there. I've seen Mariana with about 10 pieces and species of fish. And squid, an octopus, mussels, you name it, chuck her in there. Not a big fan of it, actually. I like my fish either battered or egg and breadcrumbed or grilled. Tomato, evil garlic and fresh basil. Yeah, I can eat basil. I can certainly grow it, but I don't like a lot of it. I'm not big on basil pesto or something like that. No, a lot of the commercial sold Mariana in supermarkets is crud. A lot of it is, and I'm not telling you a secret you probably don't know, VMAC, But lots of those little fishy things that they've got in that Mariana mix, it's stingray. I kid you not. I prefer to catch my own. If I can't, I'll go and find a commercial boat. I say, how much for that one? He'll say $30. I go, righto. I don't like a lot of coriander. I do like Thai food, but not big on like a handful of coriander thrown in. No, just a hint's okay. Yeah. We've all got dishes we like that we make, that we are go-to dishes. Like I either cook really slow or very fast. I don't sort of go in between. I don't do like an hour's cooking. It's either 4 hours, maybe longer. Yeah, cilantro. But then I can cook a stir fry in, and I'm not kidding you, in about 3 minutes, stir fry. But so I'm probably the school that cooks very slow or very quick. I'm not in between. Yeah, I'm not too keen on it. Quinoa. How they say it here anyway, quinoa. Sounds like a racehorse. And down the back straight comes quinoa. Burst to the lead. Wins the Boyd Cup. Some people say quinoa, but here we say quinoa. My sister-in-law swears by it for breakfast. She'll have porridge with quinoa, flaxseed, and some other stuff chucked in there. Looks like something you just scrape out of the flue, you know what I mean? She swears by it. For most of my life, I've cooked with olive oil. For most of my life. Some things like if I'm doing battered prawn, or you call it shrimp, battered prawn, battered fish, battered chicken, I'll probably use like a lighter oil, a vegetable oil. But when it comes to generalised cooking, I use olive oil. I don't like coconut oil at all. It's a bit of a fad. Kicked in about 5 years ago, and people go, oh, I swear by coconut oil. I'm thinking, really? And you pay like $11 for a little bottle? I'd swear too. I'm paying that fucking price. But olive oil, we've got massive olive farms in Australia. So olive oil is good. We have the extra version or lighter. That has different tastes. We have special markets. There was one at the last festival we went to here, and they had about 11 varieties of olive oil, and the best way to taste olive oil is with a tiny little bit of fresh bread, dip it in. Some were very peppery, some were very light, some I could see would be good for cooking, but they're pretty expensive because they're like a small, group of companies that probably have about 2 or 3 employees, so they're seats of your pant type business. Extra virgin olive oil is beautiful. I love it. It's something I can literally just get some bread, a bit of salt and olive oil, and I'd sit there and nibble on it if it's a good olive oil. I first came across it in the late 70s, early 70s it was. Went to school with an Italian kid, and he was good fun. And his father said to me one day, come over and I'll get some vegetables for you. And I said, no worries. So he gave me some tomatoes, they were beautiful. And he said, come have breakfast. And his wife was cooking, and this huge plate, big slabs of bacon, quite crispy, but thick bacon. And then she came over and poured olive oil. I'm going, what the hell's that? What's she done to me bacon? He said, yeah, you have some bread with it. You dip, and you eat a bit and dip a bit more. And I was watching him, he was using his knife, cut a bit of bacon off on the bread, bit of olive oil. It was bloody magnificent. And from about that day forward, as a young man, I thought, well, that's what I'm going to cook with, is olive oil. Grew the best tomatoes, chilies, peppers I ever seen. He would have been about 70, this old guy. And he had the front of his property on the road was a big service station, and at the back was his produce. And he said, I'm making no money. It's nothing. All the money comes from the back. She used to make her own bread. I was fascinated. I could sit and watch people cook and I could learn, but the best way to learn is to do it. So every now and then she'd say, come, I'll show you. She'd show me how to knead, and then she'd show me how to prove it. All those things that you can't pay for. I mean, if someone taught you how to do all these things, these days, you'd have to pay, like a cooking school. I've had Spanish olive oil. I'm a bit biased. Australia makes a really good quality olive oil. That's local, so we're supporting local. We get a ton of it imported, don't get me wrong. There's lots of Spanish olive oil comes into our country, a lot of oil from the Eastern Bloc, but I've tried them all, and I can tell you that I don't mind the two varieties I get, which is a extra version and a light version for throwing through salads, if you know what I mean. Our olives are beautiful. We get a good variety of olives here. We've got one grower that at this local market, the olives are about an inch long, not kidding you. And his wife had actually stuffed them with capsicum, as you know. And then she had ones that were just in a little bit of olive oil themselves. Olives in olive oil. That's unique, isn't it? Yum. And all sorts of things. You can get an olive paste, which is a bit strong, actually. I've tried it, like a pate. But I rather eat olives, you know, straight out of the olive oil. I love black olives is my favourite, even though the difference between the black olive and the green olive is a couple of weeks. That's all it is. I had an olive grove on a property I had. We had 11 trees, and a local Italian used to come out, and they had these huge big sticks, and they'd be, and underneath they had big blankets. They come out as a family. And I picked thousands of olives, and that's when I used to go around and learn how to process them, learn how they did the first press, or the virgin oil, and then showed me how they used the spinning centrifuge. Fairly complicated on a big scale, but you can do all of that fairly simply on a small scale. But the flavours were magnificent, and he always used to bring around in those big, you know, the big stone jars with corks in them, with a handle on the side, that type of thing, probably 3 gallons. He gave them to me, and he'd say, each year we just fill these up for you. And like he'd have, I get 6 of these things. And I could never use all the oil in 1 year. That's a lot of oil, about 14, 15 gallons of oil. I used to give away some to family and friends and said, you just have to bring the jar back to me, because I've got to give it back, because they use the same jars every year. And they never washed them out, by the way. They just basically got the jug, turned it upside down, get the dags out, fill her up again. Yeah, olive oil is one of those things that if people haven't really tried, the best way to introduce them is, I think this is the best way. If you get, say, some nice crusty bread, all right, and you toast it, and then you don't butter it, you break it up, and then you can soak in a bit of olive oil. And if you have like an extra virgin or a virgin, and have a little bit of salami and a bit of cheese, and then people get to understanding that the flavour of olive oil, like the Romans, one of their prized possessions for their centurions is olive oil. Salt and olive oil was a prerequisite for a Roman soldier, along with other bits and pieces they could do during the raids. But believe it or not, Roman soldiers used to get rations. They did. There were rationales and there were non-rations. In other words, the non-rations were pillaging. Well, I heard a couple of chickens. There's a farmer over there. Guess what we're going to have with our olive oil and bread tonight? That's right, roast chicken. Plenty of that would have gone on, trust me. You wouldn't want to be a chicken farmer when the Romans come through. That's all I can say. I don't know now. I think most people would have tried olive oil, but they probably use it just in cooking, or maybe through a vinaigrette salad type thing. They probably don't, a lot of people don't taste the olive oil, as in put it in a little container and dip. Kathy says hello. Sorry, Kathy, if I missed you. And loves olive spread tapenade. Very nice. Ooh, very posh. Oh dear. Probably eat it with a little finger in the air like that. Ooh, tapenade. Yes, very nice. Salads and cooking it's mainly used for. Yep, that would be me, but I also don't mind. Like when we have is a German name for a particular spread of cold meats and cheeses. And I forget what it is. The wife's there, she'll tell you what it is. Fashba, I think it is. And olive oil's introduced into that as well. But in a good restaurant, and if you're having like aperitifs and little bits of this and that, artichoke hearts, which I'm not real keen on, to be honest. A lot of fuffing around to get a bit of artichoke. I vary. I don't mind a little bit. One of my favourites is balsamic vinegar with a good olive oil. Sometimes just a vinaigrette made up of different herbs. Apple cider vinegar is brilliant. If you mixed a bit of balsamic apple cider vinegar together, you wouldn't need to do anything else. You've got all sorts of dressings. You've got French dressings, Italian dressings. It's a lot of poncing around, you know what I mean? You keep your dressings quite simple. Like I will marinate steak in balsamic vinegar. And people thought I was mad until they came around and had it on the barbecue and thought, geez, that's good. Just about half-hour marination. Just a little bit of balsamic vinegar mixed in with a nice sirloin or ribeye, and just let it, and then put it on the barbie. And they were going, geez, that's good. So you can marinate with things like vinegar. You can marinate, believe it or not, with corn flour. A lot of you would know what corn flour does. It actually breaks down the proteins in meat. You make it sriracha and lime. That sounds good. That really does, because I'm into hot food, and the lime would be a nice little kicker. But you can make all sorts of vinaigrettes, and I always tell people, just get 6 or 7 little containers out and add a bit of this and and remember the measurement and try that, and then make a different one. In the end you go, oh, that one there, that one there, that's it. So you know it's 2-3 parts this and 1 part that, bit of black cracked pepper. But a lot of people make the biggest mistake. They'll have this beautiful salad with a toss that's looking magnificent, and they put too much vinaigrette in, and you know, people need to understand it's a dressing, okay? You're not marinating the salad. So the best way to do it is actually pour, so you know exactly what goes into your salad bowl. Have an empty salad bowl first, all your ingredients there, ready to go, and put your vinaigrette in the bottom of your salad bowl. Then add all the ingredients, toss it around, you know exactly how much has gone in, put it on the plate, and Bob's your uncle. Doing it the other way around, some people go, oh, I don't know if I've added enough, or just a bit more. Then they mix it up and it's like slop, slop. So if you learn one thing tonight, put your vinaigrette in the bowl first, not last. Just a little tip, because you're still going to toss it anyway. Sunday morning, YouTube time is up. The bacon's calling. In fact, I'm going to go as well, because VMAC's leaving, I'm leaving. That's how it is. We're a team. Well, I'm going anyway, I just thought I'd make that up. So all of you have a great time. Hi, I hope you have a good catch tomorrow, or today. And to everyone else, have a great day. It's Sunday. Spoil somebody. Make someone breakfast. Just surprise them. And have a good time. Don't get angry. Don't go to those channels that annoy you. Like I say, if you haven't seen High Country's Fly Live channel, have a look. He's not paying me to endorse him. He's got some genuinely good videos. Have a bit of a crack at it. Have a look. But until next time, which I don't know when that'll be, have a good one. See ya.